What are you afraid of? Believe it or not, the answer to that question is something that's mostly common to most of us. But what's really scary is when we avoid the things that we are scared of, the things that are holding us back, that is when they start to control us. This video this morning, we are going to jump into the 3 dreaded F words that you must confront when they arise, because they are holding you back. If you are new to these videos, I'm Cicely. I go live every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, teaching you career tips and strategies that I have used to excel to the highest levels in my career in business and politics, and that will accelerate your career growth as well. For those who are joining live this morning, get to comments in just a moment. For those of you who are watching on the replay, please drop me a comment below. I would love to hear from you and if you find value in this video. So, what are you afraid of? Let's talk about the 3 F words that you must confront when they arise. The first is fear. Now, that may seem obvious to you, that we all are fearful, but when you avoid dealing with that fear, that is when it starts to control you. And you'll notice that I have fear as an acronym this morning, because fear stands for face everything and rise, or face everything and run. You have a choice to confront your fear. Drop me a comment below. Will you face everything and rise, or will you face everything and run? But the key is you have to confront the fear when it arises. I am not one of those coaches who's going to tell you ignore your fears. No, acknowledge it, deal with it, confront it so that you can minimize its impact that it's having on you. Otherwise, ignoring your fear will only control you further. Let's talk about the F word number 2, failure. Look, none of us want to fail. When we seek to do something, when we seek a new endeavor, whatever we are doing, a new adventure, career-wise or professionally or personally, no one wants to fail. And it's often the combination of fear and failure, or fear of failure, that often prevents us from seeking the opportunity in the first place. We have that small voice in our head that says, what if I can't do this? What if I fail? What happens when I don't do this well? What are they going to think of me? Look, all of those forms of fear turn into fear of failure, but they're also a form of imposter syndrome, which often appears when we try to avoid failure altogether. I will tell you many times, some of you have watched these videos, you've heard me say triumph over challenge. Do not miss an opportunity because you want to avoid failure. In fact, your comeback is often greater than your initial setback, believe it or not. Trust me on that. I've had it many times in my career. Failure is a way of redirecting you in some cases, but to avoid it altogether means you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Failure can absolutely be crippling, and the fear of failure can be crippling if we don't confront them and minimize them in their tracks when it arises. The third F word is probably a surprise to you this morning. It's feedback. Look, I have people who've come to me in my monthly coaching program. The fear of feedback, but just feedback itself. When someone walks up to you and says, I have some feedback for you. Look, people come to me and they cringe because usually when someone says they have feedback for you, it's not positive feedback. So we often avoid opportunities for feedback because we're fearful of what the feedback is going to entail. The idea here is that when someone offers you feedback, guess what? It may be negative, but it may also be positive. Embrace the opportunity to get better. Feedback from others, understand it is biased, it is skewed, it is subjective, but nevertheless, that kernel of truth, that one moment of truth that's embedded in that feedback is where you have to conduct honest self-reflection about why you don't want to hear feedback in the first place. Do you have blind spots that you need to address that you're scared others are going to point out to you? I can tell you, I have a client who came to recently who received some negative feedback, and she wanted to know how to respond to it. Fearful and trying to avoid the whole feedback conversation in and of itself. So when opportunities for feedback arises, when you are offered a piece of feedback, do not avoid it. Do not run from it. Confront it. Welcome it. Seek others' feedback because it will make you better, but filter it through someone else's lens. But you can't just immediately discount someone's feedback because, again, I can tell you from my own career, there is a kernel of truth in there that you have to confront and that you have to deal with. So don't avoid feedback opportunities. In fact, embrace them and they will make you better. So these are the 3 dreaded F words because none of us want to deal with fear. If we just choose to ignore our fear and hope it goes away, well, hope is not a strategy. You have to confront your fear and minimize it in the moment. Avoiding it only makes it worse, and that again is when our fear starts to control us. Your failure, perhaps the fear of failure, maybe it's just the avoidance of failure altogether. That is the second dreaded F word that we have to confront when it arises. And the third is feedback. Feedback, seek feedback opportunities. Don't recoil. Don't run from them simply because you're scared of what someone else may say. When you deal with these 3, you confront them, you minimize them. If you don't, they will control you and it will be to your detriment. So let's jump into comments this morning. See, we have, good morning, Eileen. Thanks for joining this morning. Always appreciate you being here. I see some others have joined, but I don't see comments coming in. So listen, I want to reemphasize as other comments may come in, please don't shy away from the opportunity to confront what's holding you back. Your fear is holding you back. The avoidance of failure is holding you back. The avoidance of feedback is holding you back, and all 3 of these will absolutely undermine your credibility and your ability to succeed in your career. I see we have another comment coming in. Good morning, Chris. Developing your ability to receive feedback from your peers will develop your confidence. Absolutely, absolutely. And we talked about how to manage across when we talked on Monday. In fact, about feedback from your peers, but also communication with your peers as well. So that's a great point, Chris. I appreciate that because that is, in fact, where developing the confidence. You're right. That's where confidence will come from. It is the interaction of learning more about yourself and how others perceive you. That is, in fact, where we do grow, even though sometimes that feedback may be something you don't want to hear, or maybe, again, it's positive. People just hear the word feedback and assume the negative. You may get feedback that is incredibly positive, that makes your day, puts a smile on your face. Don't shy away from those feedback opportunities. Let me see if we have other comments that are coming in. I don't see any new ones. So look, I am going to I appreciate Eileen and Chris being here this morning. Thank you for your comments. You're always very thoughtful to join and offer dialogue that's going to make the listeners of this video better. And that's what we're all seeking to do, is to help each other. If you have that fear of failure, if you're just avoiding fear itself, maybe it is that, Cicely, what do I do with the negative feedback? Reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'll link below, and you can see it in the link here. I'll put that link below as well in the comments. Reach out to me. I'm happy to do a free strategy call for where you are in your career. What may be some of the things that are holding you back and how you can overcome those to begin to accelerate your career growth and your career trajectory. So reach out to me. I will also link to some additional free resources below after this, in the comments after this video concludes. Thanks for joining me. As always, I will see you on Monday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern for our Monday morning meeting, where we start our week off right mindset, right headspace. Have a wonderful Thursday. I will see you on Monday.